For the first time in 15 years, it's the Progressive Conservatives who now have the responsibility for steering Ontario's economic ship of state. After 4 years as the PC finance critic, Vic Fedeli is, of course, now Ontario's Minister of Finance and the PC member for Nipissing. And he joins us now on the line from Queen's Park to talk about the province's updated fiscal picture, which he unveiled earlier today. Treasurer, it's good to see you again. How are you doing?
It's my pleasure to see you. Thank you very much for continuing to do this with us.
Not at all. What would you say is the headline coming out of today's announcement?
I think the headline is $3.2 billion saved, no job losses, $2.7 billion put back in the pockets of the people of Ontario.
Let's look into that. How do you save $3.2 billion without losing any jobs?
Well, I'll give you a really good example. The very first week, we saved 10% of that with OHIP Plus. So this was a program that the Liberals put in that nobody under 25 would pay for pharmacare. It was about a $700 million program, and it just had the government paying for everything. So what we said is many people on Ontario already have a benefits program. Certainly the public service does. So we're paying twice now for their children. So this way, if you have a benefits program, that covers you. If you don't, the government covers you. So at the end of the day, everybody under 25 still has coverage. Nobody lost a job, and we saved almost $300 million doing it this way.
I can hear in the background that the healthcare system in the province of Ontario is still working. So we just let everybody know, thankfully, that ambulance is now gone, or police officer, whatever it was.
Well, it's University Avenue. There's
it's busy.
Police and ambulance 24/7.
For sure. Let me, I want to ask you about this new program that you brought in today. It is a new tax cut for people making $30,000 a year or less. It is, the acronym is LIFT, and the idea is it's a tax cut for the lowest income individuals and families. What's the point behind that?
Well, it's one of the most generous tax cuts for low-income individuals and families in a generation. It will see that anybody earning $30,000 or less will pay no provincial income tax starting January 1, and that will affect, that's zero provincial income tax, and that will affect 1.1 million people in the province of Ontario, because Premier Ford and our caucus know that we pay enough taxes in Ontario, and we're looking to return as much money for the people as possible.
A couple of follow-ups on that. Is it not the case that 2/3 of that 1.1 million people already don't pay any provincial income tax?
No, this is a $500 million that will be returned to the people of Ontario. So that's a tremendous amount of money that people can use to pay their bills, do whatever it is that they want to do with those funds.
But my understanding is the majority of people who fit into that income bracket already don't pay any provincial income tax. I guess I'm just saying, you know, in terms of truth in advertising, is this not as big a deal as you say it is?
Well, it's a $500 million return of funds back to the lowest income earners and families. So, you know, $500 million is a significant hit to the Treasury, but it's the right thing to do for those who are in our most need. All of this money, all of that goes to the lowest income earners.
Okay, one more question on this, and you know, your expression, which you used numerous times in your speech today, was you're the government for the people. If you're really for the people, every independent study I've seen says that you can help the lowest income people among us by putting the minimum wage up to $15 an hour, as opposed to offering a tax cut to some people who already don't pay any provincial income tax anyway. Why did you prefer to go this way as opposed to that way?
Well, we heard loudly and clearly from businesses over a year ago and from every economist, from the banks, that if we go to $15 we are going to an hour, we are going to lose tens of thousands of jobs in Ontario, and that is actually what happened. In the 10 months since the minimum wage was put up by 22% to $14, we lost 31,000. We permanently lost 31,000 part-time employees in Ontario. Now, the numbers have fluctuated month after month. Some months we lose 80,000, other months we lose 50,000, but we've lost 31,000 part-time employees on a permanent basis. So we know that raising minimum wage to $15, we're going to have tens of thousands more being put out of work because the businesses just cannot sustain that. And so we're pausing the minimum wage at $14, and we will offer the zero provincial income tax to 1.1 million people at a cost of $500 million.
Let's move on to housing. One of the changes that you made today, which is different from the way the previous Liberal government did things, where they put rent controls on every unit, including new build in the province, you've decided to take rent controls off new build. How come?
Well, it was putting a chill on the construction industry, and trying to find affordable housing in the GTA is getting to be at a critical point. And so this will open up the opportunities for the builders to once again build again and be able to put into the supply. So it's one of the very few things a government can do. In fact, it's probably the number one thing a government can do to help create a supply of housing in a city that needs it so badly.
If the idea is to get more supply going, and if presumably part of the idea is to get supply for people who really need affordable housing, and you have no controls on future units, why won't developers just build expensive units? How do you know they're going to build affordable units?
Well, keep in mind, first of all, that rent control will stay on everybody who has it today. So all existing units will still have the rent control in place. But we know that the market will react to the needs of all of the people of Ontario. If there's a need in certain sectors, we're also going to be able to be helping in the near future by putting some of the lands that we've held under provincial ownership. We'll be putting some of those properties available. And when you have to look, I'll just give you a quick example. I know I'm a little off topic on this, but I'll give you an example. There's an OPP building in my hometown of North Bay. I drive by it every time I'm home on the weekend. It's been empty for 10 years. I was at the ribbon cutting when I was mayor of North Bay at the new OPP Centre. $110,000 a year it cost to keep that building empty. I see the smoke coming out of the chimney, the lawn gets cut, the driveway gets plowed. That property will go for sale along with many properties all across Ontario, and that will help.
Let me ask about the environment. You have made the decision to wind up the office of the Environmental Commissioner of Ontario, and you want to move those responsibilities into the Auditor General's office. Why should people not come to the conclusion that you guys don't care about the environment? Well,
this is going to mirror what the federal government does. We're the only province that had an independent, an off-site environmental commissioner. This puts it in the office of the Auditor General. So the Auditor General and the Ombudsman, both of their offices will expand. They'll have greater duties, more responsibilities, and a bigger mandate. So there still will be somebody monitoring the environment and all of the other offices that were in place, but it'll all be umbrellaed under the Auditor General and the Ontario Ombudsman. These are agencies that people are familiar going to, so there'll still be complaints filed, there'll still be issues that are dealt with, but just in a centralized way that we hope will save money.
All right, what if you're one of the more than 500,000 people in this province for whom French is their first language, and you have decided to wind up the Office of Francophone Affairs? If you're French-speaking in this province, why would you think that this government gives a damn about you anymore?
Well, the Office of Francophone Affairs, the Children's Services, all of these offices will now be moved into either the Auditor General or the Ontario Ombudsman's office, so you can still have the same service, the same, I call it complaints, I guess challenges, and you'll still have somebody being able to respond to you, but it'll come from a centralized area, and we're looking for efficiencies.
You know, the more nefarious interpretation of this, if I can put it that way, is that you guys haven't liked what the Environmental Commissioner has been saying about your environmental record. You don't like that the Francophone Commissioner can point out where you're falling short as it relates to French language services in the province. And this way, if you put sort of this bigger fish into a much bigger pond, their megaphone gets smaller. Is that a fair interpretation?
I don't think so. I think the Auditor General is pretty independent. I think the Ontario Ombudsman is pretty independent. They both understand their new duties, and I know that they're there to serve the people of Ontario. And this way, it takes it completely out of the hands of the government and puts it in the hands of these independent officers. And I think that's going to have they'll have a greater role for the people of Ontario.
Minister, there was one line in your speech today that I wrote down because I really need to know more about what you meant by this. The road ahead requires difficult decisions and sacrifices by everyone.
Yep.
Like what?
Well, we've got a $15 billion deficit that was left by the previous government. We were able, through our efficiencies, to find $3.2 billion in savings, turn back $2.7 billion back into the pockets of people. And so we've reduced the deficit in only 11 weeks since the Commission's report. We've reduced the deficit from $15 billion down to $14.5 billion. But we need to balance that budget. And I call it the Goldilocks touch. It can't be too quick or no one's going to believe it. It can't take too long because anybody can do that. It has to be done just right. So we will continue to look for efficiencies. And quite frankly, the days of writing checks with money we don't have are over. We have to be responsible, and everything we do will be for the good of the people and the good of the taxpayer, not the insiders and not those that are used to getting everything they asked for from the previous government for 15 years. It ended up, when you think about it, of a $15 billion deficit. We're paying more than $12 billion annually, $1 billion a month in interest. We're using a Visa card to pay off our MasterCard every month. We're borrowing money to pay interest only. I mean, that's not sustainable, and we won't have the resources for health and education 4 years from now. So we really need to address this.
I do get that, but when somebody in a position of authority like yourself says, sacrifices by everybody are coming, you won't mind my asking you, be more specific. What do you mean? What's coming?
Well, there is a line-by-line review that is done, and each ministry is going to be coming out with their studies that they're working on now, and we'll hear more, certainly between now and budget. I can't believe I'm talking about the budget already, but certainly you'll hear more and see more on a weekly and monthly basis from individual ministries as we begin to continue looking for efficiencies. Again, we found $3.2 billion in efficiencies so far, and that's only in the few weeks we've been in power.
We're down to our last couple of minutes here, and I've known you a long time, and so I don't mind saying I take no joy in asking the following questions, which I suspect you know are coming because you'd like the focus to be on finance today. But you know that the opposition leader, Andrea Horwath, has said earlier today that what we expect Premier Ford to do is what he said he would do in these instances, put an independent investigation in place and also ask Mr. Fedeli to step aside while that investigation is underway. Patrick Brown, the former leader's got a new book out. He says you have a Me Too problem. You have spoken about this publicly already. You've put a statement out. I want to give you this opportunity here on TVO tonight to speak to our viewers and say why you don't think you should resign pending an investigation of all of this.
Well, I have always worked closely with the people that I work with in the most respectful and respecting way possible. And these accusations are nothing but false and malicious, period.
You did say earlier today in your speech that you want to restore trust, transparency, and accountability in government. Do you think that would be enhanced by stepping aside temporarily while this matter is investigated?
Well, these are false and malicious accusations, and I think the Premier spoke very loudly and clearly today in the legislature. I didn't see it. I was in my version of the lockup, but I have understood and heard from many, many people that the Premier was very, very solid in his response to the opposition leader. And very detailed in his response back to her as well.
That is true. Almost all of your caucus colleagues in the legislature today wore yellow ties or yellow scarves or yellow shirts. What did that mean to you?
It was a wonderful and very touching show of solidarity. I didn't see it this morning because I was in the lockup, but I know that my mother-in-law called my wife, and my wife called me over the lunch hour to tell me how touched she was to see that there were so many people standing in solidarity. And I said to her, well, you have to understand, or I have to believe that this was planned last week. I heard in caucus that they were arranging a bulk purchase of ties for the fall economic statement. So it was, quite frankly, even more touching today, just being the day that it was.
Understood. Mr. Fedeli, it's good of you to join us on TVO tonight and take our questions. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure.
That's Vic Fedeli, Ontario's Minister of Finance and the MPP for Nipissing.
The Agenda with Steve Bacon is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.